Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Texas. I'm Tony Gonzalez. I'm from Crystal City, Texas. As I said before, we Crystal City is also known as Cristal, uh, and in the streets it's called El Vidrio. We are the Spanish capital of the world, the home of Popeye, the home of the mighty Javelinas, and the birthplace of La Raza Unida Party. And today, I'm going to take you way, way back to about 1965, 66. I was a young kid back then. And we were migrants, and we were in Wind Lake, Wisconsin. And I think it was a Saturday, and we were off. And this video will probably, this oral history will probably sound silly, but you have to be silly to be a migrant, I guess. It's Saturday and it's our day off, so a couple of friends of mine, and let me tell you my friends, one of them was named Blas. Blas was from La Quinena. La Quinena meaning Kingsville. My dad going up to Wisconsin picked him up. He was a hitchhiker. And then he became family. He went along with us. And we got him a job where we were working. So Blas was part of our life. He was older, much older than I was. He's already a grown man. And along with Blas and myself was a guy named Fred Lopez, I believe his name was. He's from San Antonio, from the west side. And Fred was already married. He had a family, but it seemed like he didn't have a family at all because he was always out there with us having a good time. So, not doing very much of anything. There is a big warehouse. Well, yeah, it's a warehouse, and some of the better people or citizens around Wind Lake would bring in used clothes for the Hispanics, the migrants. They would sell items for a nickel, a dime, and stuff, all kinds of clothes. So we ended up there zipping on beers and having a good time. And then Fred, I think Fred was the one that was always a little crazy. Now, Fred, if he drank 2 beers, it seemed like he had drunk 20 beers. Oh, he was all distorted. And he would, his eyes would, flutter and droop, and his body movement became, like in slow motion. But that was Fred. That's the way he was. And he was also a funny guy. So what Fred did, he looked at all the clothes and put on a coat. Then he put on a tie. He didn't know how to make a knot, but he put in a tie. Then he put another tie. And then I looked at him. I said, "You're crazy." He said, "Put one on." So I put on a brown coat and some great big pants. And he said, "Put some ties on." So I put some ties on. And now we're laughing. So now my friend Blas saw us, and we were younger than he was. He said, "You know what? All right, I'll go along with it." So Blas put on a hat. Then he put another hat on top of that. Then he stuck a feather, and then Fred looked at him and he says, "That's nothing." He got a derby hat, and then a cowboy hat, and then put a broken light bulb right on top. And then we went crazy. Now you can't say we were clowns. Oh, we were beyond clowns. We were dressed mismatched. Nothing matched, and we look different and we look funny. Now, Fred says, "You know what? Why don't we go do the town the way we're dressed?" I said, "You're crazy." I said, "Well, aren't we crazy?" And Blas said, "Well, I'll do anything you guys want to do." So we crowded into a little car I had, and we trailed off. And he says, "You know what? I know of a Hispanic, a Mexican, a village about 40 miles from here." So here we go. We went there. And we sure enough got there. Everybody saw us, and of course, they figured we were crazy. And in that sense, I guess they were right. We were a little crazy, or we were beyond that. So now you have these three stooges dressed in mismatched clothes, out of place, and strangers. So and people walked around us. They didn't even want to talk to us because the way we looked, and we all had a beer in our hand. And Fred looking the way he looked, everybody kept out of his way. So we kept doing that. And the night fell, and we went through the night. And let me tell you, I don't know how we killed so much time because we were having a good time, I guess. Uh, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. We drove up to who knows where, and there was a little restaurant just about to open for breakfast. And we decided to have breakfast. We weren't drinking anymore. We had already drunk all our beer. We just looked drunk. So we walked in this restaurant, and we heard a young lady whistling or singing, and we sit down at the bar, and nobody was saying anything. We were just having just sitting there and trying to look at the place. And all of a sudden, here comes this young girl and says, "Good morning." And then she saw us. She saw us, and she was shocked. I don't think she's ever seen Mexicans. I don't think she's ever seen, of course, Mexicans dressed the way we were. 2 or 3 hats, feathers sticking out the head, light bulbs, 2 or 3 ties on each, mismatched coats. And we're sitting at the bar, and my friend Blas looked at her and said, "You got sauce?" And she looked, and she's just staring at him. He says, "Hot sauce." And now she's beginning to get scared. And I said, "Miss, I think he's saying, do you have any hot sauce?" "Oh, hot sauce? Yeah." She said, "Like Tabasco?" "Hot sauce." So Blas brings it. Now, we all ordered, but Fred was he was almost out. He was kind of dazing off, so he asked a breakfast for him. And remember, we asked for a whole complete breakfast. Eggs and hash browns and toast and bacon and all that stuff. So the young girl says, "Yes, sir, yeah, I'll get it for you." She started cooking. Now, when she was about to bring the food out, before that, Fred remembered it was Father's Day. He said, "You know what? El Día de los Padres, vato." "What?" "Día de los Padres." "Oh, Father's Day? Oh, yeah, cool." He says, "And yeah, it's Father's Day, and my dad is in San Antonio. And I miss him." And, and then he started crying out loud, "No, Papa, Dad, Papi, Ma." And the girl went out and said, "Is anything wrong?" I said, "No, everything's fine." And "Oh, mi papi." And so she comes out and puts out the food. And I start eating, and I'm looking at Fred, and Fred is crying. "Hey, Fred, eat your food." So she backed out, but she walked backwards and she was there by herself. And Fred kept doing it, and we had our breakfast. And then finally he came to his senses. He said, "Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine." I said, "Eat your breakfast." He said, "No, I'll just take a taco to go." I said, "There's no tacos to go." "No problem, I'll make a taco." I said, "Eat your breakfast." So he gets a bread, 2 pieces of bread, and he puts the breads on top of the eggs, and then he squeezes them like tacos. Now he picks them up. And that time the girl came out to see if we wanted more coffee, and he's standing there with the 2 tacos, and then we saw the yolk running down his hands. And he's looking at the young lady. And he goes, he licks his hands. "Fred, what are you doing?" I said, "No, I got it. And then he wipes them off. Then he puts them in his pocket. Now the girl is probably in shock. I'm sure she's still still remembers that day. Finally, we walked out of there. And we got home all right. Nothing happened to us. Nobody saw us or nobody arrested us. And that was one of my best times being a migrant field worker. It's a pastime. I hope you like this. And I hope you enjoy this. And if you think it's silly and ridiculous, well, that's fine. And as a matter of fact, I hope you have an experience like this. It's fun. See you on the next one.